Welcome to Cookies and Conversations, where we get down to the crumb of it.
Hey everybody, it's Chef Ray. I am making cutout sugar cookies with icing on them. Our sugar here, I got 3/4 cup of white sugar and 3 tablespoons of brown sugar. And here I have 2 1/4 cup of flour and 1/2 teaspoon of salt and 1/4 teaspoon of baking powder. I'm gonna go ahead and pour in our butter and mix the butter and the sugar together. So I put 3/4 cup worth of white sugar in here, and then I put 3 tablespoons worth of brown sugar in here. The recipe typically doesn't call for the brown sugar. I like the little bit of taffy texture that gives you when you use brown sugar. I'm gonna use the same bowl that we had our butter in, and I'm going to crack the egg in that. Task, I do recommend using a rubber spatula, and you can try to get the rest of that butter out as well. I'm gonna go ahead and put in our vanilla. 1 tablespoon. I'm also going to add a dash of vanilla powder. And as I'm using these ingredients, I am putting them up. Also going to add a dash of cinnamon. And this is just my take on cut out sugar cookies. What I love about this recipe is that you do not have to refrigerate these for hours like you normally do. Okay, wash your mixer beaters. Notice that's a lot thicker than it was before. As you're doing this, you're going to go ahead and add in your salt, baking powder, I just shake mine back and forth. And sift it as well. You know, if you're at home, you're not gonna have a whole lot of tools at your disposal. So I kind of like to cook like that sometimes. Because I do have this mixed up, I do want to scrape my bowl before I add flour. Some eggs still on the side, still have some butter in there. And make sure you scrape the bottom as well. Flour in batches. So we've added our flour, baking powder, and salt. Mix that well. You'll see that that texture begins to change. All right, so got all that mixed up. Now, I personally think that it is a bit soft to necessarily roll these out. So what I'm gonna do is I am going to refrigerate this for a bit while we make our icing. And that will make things a little bit smoother. Okay. These are so handy. Get you some Clorox wipes. I don't know if you guys are aware that Clorox wipes have a surface time of 3 minutes. So typically you're supposed to have it on the surface without drying it. You should never go back behind a Clorox wipe and dry it off. It should, that disinfectant needs to sit on the countertop for 3 minutes. Found that out the other day. I was ordering a bunch of stuff for the classroom, including disinfectant wipes and antiseptic. I ordered even boot covers. I ordered some masks and some aprons. This year, I'm not really gonna worry about class uniform as much as I did last year, because we were actually in the classroom the whole year and we were actually cooking almost 3 days out of the week. But I bought some class aprons that I know I can wash and that are more durable than the normal apron, that you slip over you and then you connect at the side. It's like a fasten apron, almost like a smock. And I can put logos and stuff on them, so I got those. I saw this on this lady I follow on Instagram. Her IG is Megana's Food. I don't know how to exactly 100% pronounce it, but what I like about this is it tells you like the Fahrenheit. It has a measurement table on it, and so I'll probably order a bunch of these because this is something we don't have. Ordered us a pressure washer too, because I would really love to deep clean the kitchen before we go in it, but I know that may not be possible with the pressure washer, at least, but I can still deep clean it. But once that comes in, basically I'm gonna end up spraying the whole kitchen down, which is the goal.
All right, so now we are gonna make royal icing. That's right, royal icing. We got some powdered sugar and put a little water in there. And then I also got some food coloring.
All right, so you need 4 cups of powdered sugar. I like to knock all the contents to the bottom of the bag, or at least as far as I can go, before I try to cut open powdered sugar or flour or any sort of other powdered products, so it doesn't go everywhere. At least you can kind of minimize some of that. you just hate that when you get a measuring cup and like the numbers always come off the side. So I'm using a measuring cup for a measuring cup. It's like inventive. 3 cups. And 4. Drop that off into a big bowl. And you don't have to use water. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 tablespoons, 7, 8, and 9. I'd say that's close to almost a half a cup of water, 9 tablespoons. So we got our water. Okay, I like to kind of use the mixer to sift the sugar, powdered sugar. Just turn it on. Go around and get it a little bit finer. Start to add the water. Alright, I put 15 drops in there. This is food coloring gel. Half and half. Then I'm gonna scrape the bowl. See, the color I was trying to achieve was bright yellow. Okay, so like I was saying, if you do not have cream of meringue or cream of tartar, you can use cornstarch. I've even used baking soda to kind of help thicken it up. You don't need a whole lot. I'm going to put in about half of a tablespoon. icing, you can actually, you really could pour it on your cookies. Now, they'll say use a piping bag, but it's not really necessary. What I am going to do, I do want it a little bit thicker than what it is. I'm going to add a little bit more powdered sugar up in here. Alright, I'm going to set that off into our refrigerator. Pull the cookies out of the freezer. Yeah, a lot harder than it was. A lot harder than it was. I like to use normal flour when I am dealing with cookies and I have to use flour to flour my surface. I like to use some cake flour, some Swan's cake flour. It's a finer, has a little bit of a sweet note to it. I use it for all of my cakes, especially when I make pound cakes. This mat is like super big. It is 20 by 12, I think. 20 by 12 mats. It's amazing. This mat is used basically if you're trying to do candy or something, or you would take something out of the oven, or you want to bake right on the oven. You can typically bake on these ovens. I mean, on the mats in the ovens. It just depends on, you know, which one you get. This one you can't, but it goes up to like so many degrees. So it just depends on the mat you get. But yeah, these are the cookie cutters I have. I actually was able to get some while you guys were over here away at sleep. Some cookie cutters. Get you some heart-shaped cookie cutters. I'm going to use our rubber spatula again. Okay, see how it came out? A lot firmer, which is what I want. That is what I want. Now, does anyone at their home own a rolling pin that I can borrow? Put a little flour on whatever it is that you're using. Gather some of that up. Put that right on the outside of the surface of your cookie. Now, if I was at the school, I'd have like 15 million rolling pins right at my disposal. Okay, it actually does work, but I do need a little bit more flour. So that worked out perfect. So pop it in the freezer for about 10 minutes. And you see that you are able to actually roll it out if you do it for a long enough time. What I like to do is just keep a little bit off to the side. Just pour some of that flour off to the side, then you can grab and use that. And then I'm going to start using the cookie cutter. I think I want to make the big ones. I'm gonna open the giant cookie cutter. You can do these in whatever shape you want. If you don't have a cookie cutter at your disposal, you know, get creative. Use a glass. Use a measuring cup. You know, it can be circular. You can still do this and do it in a round shape. And I think it will still look great. As long as you have enough room to write on it, which is the goal. You want to have enough room to write on these. And you want them to be as stable as possible too. So you want to make sure that, you know, when you're doing this, that you're baking them longer than chewy textures would allow, basically. So if it's super soft, you want to keep baking. You want it to be crunchy on the outside, at least on the edges, and then soft in the center. But once it cools off, you want to make sure that that cookie's going to set. Okay, what I mean by set is it needs to be hard enough in order for you to pick it up and literally pick it up and not pick it up in pieces. So I got my cookie cutter. Now you can put a little flour on the cookie cutter as well. Just want to make sure that it doesn't stick. And then, because you're going to have to lift this up, I'm going to flour right over the impressions. And I'm going to press down one more time. We'll line it up. Okay. What you're doing is making sure that it separates from the rest of the dough. Okay, we're going to move on to the next one. Okay, I do have some spots I could use without having to re-roll the dough for a smaller cookie cutter. And so you can go in there with the smaller one. And if you guys have to go to your PLT, you can, or you can stay online. And what I'm trying to do is get as many as I possibly can. So be particular about your placement. my spray. Let's see. Your pan. I'm weird like that, but I like to clean off the nozzles to the oil, like the oil sprays, because if you don't, it will create mold. I can't explain it, but it's just like any other food product, right? So I like to spray after and before. And typically I will use Baker's Joy, but I'm using what's at my disposal. Love Baker's Joy. Okay, give me a handy dandy spatula. Normally, this is why I normally make these cookies with a shortbread recipe, because sugar cookies are so soft, and especially if you cream your sugar and your butter right, which we did for about 3 minutes. Bam. Pop those in the oven. Have the oven on 375 degrees. And probably take at least, we'll start it out at the 10 minute time. but
these are amazing.